Buenos Aires, August 2011. An 11-year-old girl disappears in broad daylight. Her name spreads across the media. Her face is printed on thousands of posters. All of Argentina is searching for her. But what no one knows is that the truth is already written and buried beneath layers of silence and power. At Argentina Crime Files, every story confronts us with a justice that leaves more questions than answers. On August 22, 2011, Candela Rodríguez left her home in Villa Tci Hellingham. Her mother, Carola Labrador, saw her for the last time around 3:30 p.m. She was supposed to meet some friends, but she never arrived. Her disappearance shocked the country and triggered a desperate search. The case gained national attention when, days later, a chilling message was sent to her mother. "If he doesn't return the money, you will find her dead." Suspicions of a revenge crime overshadowed the search for Candela, shifting the focus away from what truly mattered: finding her alive. On August 31, 9 days after her disappearance, Candela's body was found inside a trash bag in a vacant lot in Villa Tci, just 30 blocks from her home. She had been asphyxiated, and her body showed signs of captivity. Public outrage grew. How could this happen amid one of Argentina's most widely covered searches? Why did no one see anything? Why was the investigation filled with contradictions from the very beginning? The family denied knowing of any threats or prior conflicts. However, an anonymous message pointed to a debt that was never clearly explained. The origin of this message and its direct connection to the crime were never thoroughly investigated. Authorities failed to explore whether there were ties between the family and organized crime. Carola Labrador, Candela's mother, gave conflicting statements, initially claiming her daughter had gone out to play with friends and later insisting she would never have let her leave alone. During the search, her reactions raised concerns among some witnesses. When Candela's body was found, Carola was quickly taken to a secure location, in what seemed more like an attempt to control her statements rather than a protective measure. Candela's father, Alfredo Rodríguez, was serving a prison sentence for highway cargo theft and had connections with organized crime. Yet, authorities never delved into whether his network was crucial to understanding the crime's motive. Instead, the investigation centered on the revenge theory without questioning whether the family had withheld key information. Carola Labrador's ties to political figures like Sergio Berni and then Governor Daniel Scioli were another aspect that remained untouched in the investigation. The case was marked by a media and political shield that did not just divert attention but turned the investigation into a maze of contradictory narratives and manipulation. Instead of uncovering the truth, authorities fed the confusion and shifted focus away from the real perpetrators. The convictions handed down in 2017 were overturned in 2020 due to a lack of solid evidence, exposing a rushed judicial process. Once again, impunity prevailed. From the start, the investigation was plagued by negligence and contradictions. The revenge theory gained strength, citing supposed links between Candela's father and drug trafficking, yet no concrete evidence ever supported this claim. Searches, arrests, and forensic tests were conducted, but the lack of rigor in these procedures left more doubts than answers, fueling a process riddled with errors and omissions. Key witnesses changed their testimonies under suspicious circumstances, such as a neighbor who initially reported seeing unusual activity in the area, but later retracted his statement without explanation. Crucial evidence was discarded or tampered with, including the reconstruction of Candela's final movements, which was altered in various official reports. Media pressure not only distorted the investigation but also created a public narrative that served the interests of certain power groups. In 2017, Hugo Bermudez and Leonardo Jara were convicted as co-perpetrators of the crime, while Fabian Gomez was sentenced as an accomplice. However, in 2020, the ruling was overturned due to a lack of conclusive evidence and a flawed trial. Coerced testimonies, weak evidence, and a justice system more concerned with closing the case than uncovering the truth. Reports surfaced of illegal coercion during interrogations, manipulation within the investigation, and inconsistencies in reconstructing the events. The annulment of the verdict once again revealed how justice, rather than seeking the truth, prioritized ending the case to appease media pressure. Once again, impunity won. Candela's case is a brutal example of how Argentina's machinery of impunity operates. The police diverted the investigation, the justice system failed to investigate connections to organized crime, and politicians used the case as media spectacle. The theories suggesting high-level complicity were never fully explored because they implicated untouchable sectors. Candela's family was caught between a system that does not seek the truth and a country that has grown accustomed to impunity. More than a decade after her death, her case remains proof that in Argentina, justice is not for those who need it most. The Argentine public took to the streets demanding justice. Protests, calls for action, and a desperate plea to prevent history from repeating itself. The demonstrations helped keep Candela's memory alive and pressured the authorities, but the response was inadequate. Despite the collective outrage, the investigation remained flawed, failing to uncover the networks of power that shielded the perpetrators. Public mobilization kept Candela's name from being forgotten, but it could not break through the wall of silence surrounding those responsible. In a country where corruption and silence are the norm, the truth is not discovered, it is buried. Candela was not an isolated case. She was another victim of a system that never protects the innocent and perpetuates impunity for the same powerful figures. Candela was only 11 years old. She should never have become another name on the long list of victims the system chooses to forget. Her story should not have existed, but it did. And her death remains a brutal reminder that impunity has names and faces. Impunity still reigns, power protects itself, and justice remains a privilege for the few. But we also know that exposing what others choose to ignore is the only way to break the pact of silence. Because sometimes, remembering is the only way to seek justice.